Dear viewers, welcome again to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I'm glad you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Now, the Supreme Court seems to be making a very terrible mistake. The mistake that KOOME and her other judges have made is this of calling Jeremiah KIONI to go to the Supreme Court on the 17th of March and shed light on why he thinks that Raila Amollo Odinga is the one who won this presidential election. I say this is a terrible mistake because it is going to expose, because already it has exposed the Supreme Court in a negative way, a biased way, and it's going to add up onto that. And I think this is going to be a good platform. And Supreme Court is falling into the trap of Azimio One Kenya Alliance by asking Jeremiah KIONI to go to court on the 17th of March to shed light on why he thinks that Raila Amollo Odinga won and William Samoei Ruto lost. This is going to expose the Supreme Court in a very bad way, because now there is this issue of whistleblowers, which was never factored in during the verdict issuance. There is the issue of the whistleblower who came from IEBC directly. Then there's the issue of forms which were never addressed. Then there's the issue of the error document which was never addressed. Then there's the issue of a server which has never been addressed. And this is the bone of contention. Mind you, in the event in Mombasa at a rally at Likoni constituency, OTIENDE AMOLLO told Jeremiah KIONI not to be afraid, because this is a perfect platform to now tell Supreme Court exactly what they did not want to listen to.
Haya, Mombasa mpo, Likoni mpo, mmesikia wanatutishatisha. Juzi Jeremiah KIONI amesema kwamba mwenye alishinda Agosti ni Raila Amollo Odinga. Wiki ijao tarehe 17 Ijumaa wamemwita kule Supreme Court ati aende aeleze ni mbona anasema hivyo. Nataka niwaulize hapa vile mpo, nani alishinda kura ya urais Agosti? Nani alishinda? Nani alishinda? Kama unakubali ni Raila Amollo Odinga, hebu inua mkono, nyosha mkono.
Now Supreme Court is feeling the pressure, and perhaps this explains why they had to call Jeremiah KIONI to come I think 2 days before the mass action, because the Supreme Court realizes that if this mass action is to take place, then one of the agenda that will dominate the mass action is this issue of server and how to make sure that William Samoei Ruto is removed from the State House. That will be the agenda of Azimio One Kenya Alliance. So now the Supreme Court has decided to counter that strategy by calling Jeremiah KIONI. It's like trying to, talk to the Azimio on behalf of William Ruto. That is what I sense in this whole arrangement. Because look at this timing. Raila has announced 20th to be the date for mass action. Supreme Court is calling Jeremiah KIONI to come to court on 17th so that he can now be heard. So I think this is the pressure that the Supreme Court is beginning to feel. And mind you, there have been a lot of blames and counter blames ever since that verdict was delivered by KOOME, because the way in which it was delivered, according to the senior counsels, according to lawyers, they say that that verdict was not delivered professionally. Those were not words of someone who can be regarded as a professional judge. That is what these people keep saying. So Jeremiah KIONI is supposed to shed more lights on why he thinks and why he has been saying that Raila Amollo Odinga won. But why is it that this call is being applied selectively? Of course, even most Kenyans in that rally said Raila Amollo Odinga won. And you could see from the way they raised their hands, and they could say that, they could be heard saying that Raila won. So is it going to be that, that the Supreme Court is going to call all these residents, all the citizens who said Raila won, are they going to be called for maybe a session with the Supreme Court? This is what we find, that it is kind of ni kama ile kusema kwamba hii koti inababaika completely. Then how do you explain this call 2 days or 3 days before the mass action? So now they call, because if it's the issue of, Jeremiah Kioni saying Raila won and Ruto lost, this is not something that was said yesterday or last month. I think the first time I heard about this whistleblowing from IEBC was in December.
Wacha tuambie hivi, halo, kama wanataka wenye wanasema Raila alishinda, sisi sote tutaenda hapo. Na kufika hapo, Jeremiah Kioni, usiogope. Swali la kwanza tutawauliza fungua nini? Ndio tujue nani alishinda. La pili, siku hiyo Jeremiah Kioni, tutabeba ile ripoti ya whistleblower. Na sasa tutapata nafasi ya kuitoa kwenye Supreme Court. Hatukuwa na hiyo nafasi. Sasa senior counsel wote wako hapa, tutaingia kule ndani na tutawapatia hiyo ripoti na tutaambia ABC contradict. Hello?
If I'm not wrong, if it's not December, then it's early January. But that's the time this whistleblower unleashed those details that got Chebukati flat-footed. I can say, I think it was in January, because that was the time Chebukati was handing over, was basically retiring. So that's the time this whistleblower also chose to release the details. Then there's the issue of Gidongo, and again the whistleblower, the person who said they were hired to manufacture forms. Again, that's another case that Supreme Court is supposed to deal with. So Supreme Court has a mountain of issues that they need to deal with, and if they don't deal with these issues in time, it is going to cost them. And if this mandamano is to take place, then the people who will bear the biggest blame here, one is Supreme Court, two is the IEBC, because they are the people who did what many people have termed as a shoddy job. Why am I saying these people have been terming this as a shoddy job? Because they say that Supreme Court did not factor in all the considerations, and the IEBC also is being blamed because they are being blamed for having used manufactured Form 34As to make declarations, that there are other constituencies which were never tallied. That's why the IEBC is being blamed, and the Supreme Court is also being blamed for the shoddy job that they probably talked about. So, dear ladies and gentlemen, I agree with Otiende Amollo 120% regarding what he has said in that rally at Likoni constituency, that Jeremiah Kioni usiogope, and if you're told anything is to happen, that all these Kenyans have said that it could have been that Raila is the person who won. So those are not my words, but the people who attended that rally are the ones who made that call. So, ladies and gentlemen, perhaps if you're watching our video for the first time, or if you're a regular viewer who has not subscribed, please just take a moment and subscribe to this channel. You can give us a like, you can hit the notification bell so that every time we upload such videos, you will always become the first person to get notified. Now, ladies and gentlemen, kindly stay safe and stay blessed until we catch up again in our next analysis.